My most read blog was about why I've chosen to work for Microsoft. This was all based on a question somebody asked me once while I was attending a workshop here in Redmond during the time I was still living in Switzerland. Now, this blog has continuously year over year had the most numbers reading it. And I assume it's because a lot of people search for why work for Microsoft. Now, we had recently our MS poll time. That's the annual time when Microsoft asks all employees to provide feedback of how we like it to work at Microsoft. Plus, there were quite a few people I used to work with at Microsoft Switzerland that also changed jobs over that time. And so it just was something that was more, again, a topic. Am I still energized to work for Microsoft? Would I choose again for Microsoft? Would I consider a different employer? And I can honestly say I'm more energized than ever, excited. I love to start working in the morning and super excited of what is coming. And so I definitely would choose over again to work for Microsoft. And today I want to share with you 3 of those core values that Microsoft stands for to me and that make me be so in love with that company and love working here. And the first value is Microsoft values people. That's not just customers as people, but also us as employees. I know probably most often Satya is quoted with what he said, don't work for Microsoft to be cool, work for Microsoft to make others look cool. And I love this quote, I really do. But there was something else he said that impressed me even more. He once said that whatever it is you stand for, whatever it is you're passionate about it, what your mission is in life, if Microsoft is that platform that helps you to fulfill that mission, to achieve what you set out in life to achieve, then that's a great match. And why I prefer that even more is because it puts me really at the center and puts me in the shoes to think about, what do I want in life? And what was interesting, and just recently I had a chance to drink coffee with one of our leaders. Sometimes they invite a group of us for coffee, for an open exchange. It's always super awesome. I love those coffee times. And he explained that when people ask him for career mentoring, he often challenges them to write something like where they want to be in 5 years or so. Then they discuss this. The next step is to write something where you want to be 15 or 20 years from now. And then the last thing is to write your obituary. Now he says many people don't want to come back with their obituary, and that's, fine. And I was kind of laughing just as I was laughing now because I wrote it once based on a book that I read. And personally, I believe it's awesome and I would recommend it to everybody. I know it's also quite common in, I think, self-growth and other topics of books that talk about it. But it really forces you to look. And when you write that down, and it's obviously quite personal, then to go back and say, is Microsoft that platform that can help me to achieve what I want to achieve? And then you have the right employer. One of the things I'm more than happy to share right now is one of the things I want to be remembered of, and I tell that my wife, is that if I pass before her, I want her to be standing there in front of people, family, friends, and with a serious face, like 100% convinced that I was the best husband in the world and there was nothing she could have asked for. Now, I'm not there yet. I make my fair share of mistakes, but that's what I strive for. I do want to be the best husband possible. Now, to achieve that, I need an employer that allows me to somehow balance this work-life, even though I know there's other tech CEOs that say forget work-life balance. If you do what you love, you never work in a life, but never work a day in your life, but the problem is, to be the best husband, you have to be able to spend quality time. Relationships needs nurturing. And I need to be there for her, not just stressed and in between, but really be there. And many of you probably read this year, Microsoft gave us like 5 well-being days on top of the vacation time we get. But even without that, I guarantee you, I've never had a manager yet at Microsoft that if I say, it doesn't really matter what is our workload, if I say, hey, I need a timeout, I need a few days just to be with my wife, I don't think anybody would say no. They'll always find a way to make that happen for me. And that's something I truly love because, again, you can see that they value people, and it has even been more evident than ever before during this pandemic from the day one in their responses and how they work with the different situations of the different employees. I just love it. I do feel, even though I'm a small piece in a big machine, I matter. I know I matter. I matter to the Satya and his LT, even though he probably doesn't know me, but that's not important. I know that he values the people that work for Microsoft. The second value is corporate social responsibility. I've never worked for a company that takes that so serious than Microsoft, definitely not a for-profit company. I mean, giving, as an example, is such a big culture here, and it was big back home in Switzerland, but it was even more evident here, like when you start at Microsoft here in the US, in Redmond, on your new employee orientation day, at least before COVID when we all met, they gave us $50 that we could give to any cause we are passionate about. Didn't really matter what, just in our name. Just to get used to that act of giving and feel the energy and emotion of doing that, and it's awesome. But don't get me wrong, it's not just about giving, it's also making sure that all people have access to the benefits of the innovation the tech industry as such is driving, but even other industries. And it starts with simple things like broadband access. You wouldn't believe how many people still around the world don't have broadband access. Microsoft and some partners came up with this solution where they bundle broadcast unused TV frequencies, bundle them, and allows them to deliver broadband. The awesome thing about this is a lot of the infrastructure is already there to broadcast TV signals. And so not much net new infrastructure is technically needed. And it started in Africa, they brought it over here to the US to really bring that access, because there are still thousands of people in rural areas, even here in the US, that do not have access. And if you do have access, which is obvious if you watch this vlog on YouTube, it's probably hard to imagine what it means. I mean, like, we look so many things up, if that is like a recipe we want to cook, if that is just like to be entertained, if that is something for our job, for our careers, training, remote working right now during the pandemic. Broadband access is so critical that you can also benefit from all the innovation that is being driven in technology. And the third value that is a key differentiator for me is trust. Microsoft to me stands for trust. And why do I say it stands for me? It's not because they said so, it's because I experience it day in and day out. For the past 9 years, you wouldn't even believe me, like how sometimes overwhelming and just lengthy the process can be for projects that I want to do to make sure we follow all these compliance guidelines. But I love it. I love it because it's a company that just doesn't say it's important, they live it. I've worked for plenty of companies, they all say, of course, nobody says they don't care about data privacy or data security, but actually put money and resources into it and go more, just further, the extra mile than what maybe the law requires them to do. Just Microsoft. Haven't worked for a single other company that takes it as serious. And I don't even know everything that they do. But the parts that I see really make me have so much faith and trust into Microsoft long, even when I go into the retirement, if they keep that trajectory, that's gonna keep on going. And if you add to the fact that with the book that you see over here, right here, that's the latest book from Brad Smith. If you haven't read it, please read it. It's super important. But the call for the Digital Geneva Convention, that data privacy should be human rights. They do so many things that are, yes, benefit somehow Microsoft if it passes, but it benefits everybody at the end of the day, because every company becomes a technology company, and these are fundamentals, values that need to be established now. And I really do love what Microsoft does at the forefront of it. So these are the 3 key values that make me so excited and make me choose Microsoft as an employer over and over again. Let me know if you want to learn more about any of these areas, or if I missed something that is a core value or a key for you, why you would love to work for Microsoft, or if you work for Microsoft, what's important to you. And with that, the Dave Kurt out.